I drove a Cadillac. Well, Elvis, he had it all. They say he was the king, but look how happy he was when he split.
You know, we all need them. We all need strategies for living. So are you ready? Are you ready for your daily dose of radio rehab?
Man, I thought I was ready today.
You're not. I can promise you're not ready. Hey, folks, welcome into 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Welcome into Strategies for Living. I'm Dr. David McMillian. He's Jimmie Bryant, PhD. That means he produces, he hosts, and he directs.
And I'm getting myself together.
Well, you better go beyond getting yourself together. How many times on the program do I say, better buckle your seatbelt today?
You know, you hit me with that. I'm happy to say a decent bit.
Yeah, well, you don't only need to buckle your seatbelt today. You better take the shoulder strap, and you better put an extra shoulder strap on. Yeah,
okay.
You better strap.
I need to double strap.
Okay, let me.
I got you.
And she's laughing over here. PLPC Lauren Leon McMillian, my lovely wife, joining in on the frivolity today. Let me get you to use your imagination, Jimmie. Suppose one of your little guys goes to his mommy and says, "Mommy, I used to be a tall baseball player." And of course, mommy says, "Yeah, you're going to be a tall baseball player one day."
Right.
And I mean, exasperated, the little guy stomps his foot. He hollers, No, I was a tall baseball player, and I was tall like Daddy." What would you think? You know, what would you think that your son would be trying to say? Did he mean? No, he couldn't mean. No, he couldn't mean. No. Was he trying to tell me that he was? He remembers being a grown up and in a previous lifetime, and yeah, he was a baseball player. Yeah, but that's just the start of the story. There's a whole lot more, and we're going to unpack it today with the author of The Boy Who Knew Too Much. She's Cathy Byrd. The book is fantastic. It's out from Hay House. And we're also going to be joined by Jeroen deWit, who is a QHHT. He's a hypnotherapist. He's a QHHT. We'll talk about what that is. Level 3 practitioner. And I think Cathy would agree with me. Jeroen helped Cathy piece the puzzle together. After it's a heck of a story.
This is intriguing.
You put that seatbelt on, folks. Thank you for tuning in to Strategies for Living. We will be right back to meet Cathy and to meet Jeroen. Strategies is brought to you by the Robinson Film Center. We're brought to you by Azalea Cleaners, by Pintail Roofing, by Learning Rx, by Hempress, Cannabis with Love, 3766 Uri Drive in Shreveport, and we're brought to you by the Shreveport Little Theater. Back in a moment to meet our life strategist, Cathy Byrd and Jeroen deWit, the boy who knew too much, an astounding, true story of a young boy's past life memories. That's this evening here on Strategies. Stay with us.
Reading begins not in the classroom, but in your child's brain. I'm Donisa Walker with Learning Rx Shreveport. If your child struggles to read, maybe he or she has trouble focusing or comprehending, Learning Rx Shreveport offers a science solution to reading problems, working one-on-one with your child, targeting his or her reading skills. Today, call Learning Rx Shreveport. Make an appointment to have your child assessed. I know you want to help your child, so does Learning Rx Shreveport.
Hi, this is Jay Merle for Pintail Roofing. Let's talk about quality. When you hire Pintail to build your roof, here's what you can expect. Quality and quality control are the most important concerns for us at Pintail, and you need to know that Pintail stands tall with swift and professional performance on any warranty call. This is our most important policy. And remember, we're your neighbors. We'll be here for you for the long haul. Our family's lived here for over 100 years, and we aren't going anywhere. On the commercial side of Pintail's business, our fluid-applied roofing solutions can save thousands of dollars over conventional commercial roofing options. Call Pintail at 226-ROOF for a free inspection of your home or commercial building. That's 226-7663. Pintail Roofing. What's the condition of your roof?
Hey, welcome in. Welcome into 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Welcome into Strategies for a Living, PLPC, Lauren, Leon, McMillian, Jimmie, Bryant, David McMillian. Let's bring in our life strategist. I'll tell you about Cathy Byrd. She is a residential real estate broker, mother of 2 young children who never had the aspirations of becoming a writer until her then 2-year-old son began sharing memories of being a baseball player in the 1920s and 1930s. Cathy is a Southern California native. She received her bachelor's degree from UCLA and an MBA from Pepperdine University. And prior to becoming a realtor, Cathy had an exciting 10-year career in sports marketing, working for the World Cup and Olympic torch relay organizing committees.
That's awesome.
Yeah, isn't that great? And let's also bring in Jeroen deWit. Back in 2006, he had the honor of training directly with the great Dolores Cannon, who founded QHHT, Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique. And she authored just a ton of fascinating books.
Her name's been mentioned before.
Yeah, of course.
The great.
And since then, and 2,000 plus hypnosis sessions later, he's still learning new things. Cathy, Jeroen, welcome to Strategies for a Living.
Welcome.
Thank you. Hi, David and Jimmie.
How are you, Jeroen? How are you, Cathy? Glad you're here. Cathy, let's start here. This is one of those things, you don't even know, how do you start a conversation like this? You know, when did you know? When did you know? Because you got to Jeroen eventually, but once Christian, and that's your young son's name. Once Christian started giving you the clues, what was that process like between those first clues and finding Jeroen to help put all the pieces together?
Right. That was quite a long journey, and probably the biggest stumbling block in the whole thing was me, because I was the most skeptical, cynical person, and I am the type of person, like, I always want proof of things.
Right.
And I would say I'm probably the most un-woo-woo person to write a book, the book that I wrote.
Yeah.
The most unlikely person to write a woo-woo book. That would be me. But yeah, first of all, it feels like a lifetime ago when I heard you telling that story. My son is now 15, and he's just about to start high school, and we had our registration for high school today.
Oh, wow.
So that was literally 13 years ago, that story that you were relaying. And so much has happened since then. I mean, he still loves baseball, but when it first started surfacing, the strangest thing about it was that we were not baseball people. You know, his dad is German, from Germany.
Right.
To this day, he really is not a baseball fan.
So here you get this little boy. Here you get this little boy in your home who insists on being in a uniform 24/7. Right.
Correct. And really, he was saying it for a long time before I ever really took note of it and started listening to what he was saying. And then the more and more things he would tell me about his time as a baseball player, I started, researching and finding out that a lot of things he was telling us were historically accurate. You know, one day he said, this elevator kind of looks like a hotel. And I said, yeah, it kind of does. And he said, when I was a tall baseball player, I used to stay in hotels almost every night. And this was when he was a baby when he said these things, right? And I said, I kind of went with it, and I said, oh, did you fly on airplanes? And he said, no, mostly trains. And this was like right after he turned 3.
Yeah.
And he had never even seen a train. Yeah. So it was all very, very odd and peculiar. And me being a Christian, the first thing I did was go to my pastor. And
okay.
I know you've read the book, so you know that didn't go well.
It's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting, Cathy, that we say often on this program there are no coincidences, right? I've had far too many quote unquote coincidences to believe in coincidence. So here is your son. Here's you, who you've already said, skeptic, not woo-woo. And you're a Christian. The first thing you thought to do was go to your pastor about your young son named Christian.
Correct.
No coincidence, right?
No coincidence, correct. Oh, yeah. But so the way, basically, without saying it flat out, he kind of insinuated that my son might be possessed by the spirit of a dead person.
Oh.
So that was disconcerting, and so I kind of dropped the subject at my church. And the first person I found, I would say my angels along the way, which Jeroen was definitely one of my angels along the way. But the first angel was Carol Bowman, who I believe you guys are also familiar with. And she's amazing, and she's done a lot of work with kids and really documented a lot of the stories of children who do recall past lives.
Her two books are just absolutely legend. And for people who are having these experiences, they're written basically for parents to know what to do if your son or daughter is coming up with this.
Correct. And she still has a blog to this day, and there's, I check in with her now and then, too, to say, like, hey, are there any new kids? Because kids are born every day with these things are happening, and parents are going to Carol still because she really is the expert on this. But she was the one who really kind of guided me and said, don't be scared by it, and, just listen and let them, speak when they want to. And generally, one of the patterns that these young kids have is when they do recall these memories, it's kind of when they're in this alpha state, like right before they go to sleep or right after they wake up. And that was definitely the case with our son. As it was right before he would go to bed or after he would wake up that he would say these things.
Right. Now, Jeroen, as it turns out, and the rest of the story, and we'll unpack this, but as it turns out, Cathy, in a previous lifetime, was also related to Christian in the previous lifetime. In fact, they were mother and son, right? How common is that, Jeroen? How common is that? Does that happen?
Well, in our practice, it's quite common that that we spend time with the people that are close to us now in our current lifetime and other lifetimes, but that we try out different relationships. So I see it more that a person that is now someone's mom could have been their good friend in another lifetime.
Right.
To come back in the same sort of configuration, I haven't seen that very much, but it does happen. It's most of the time it's like we try out different relationships.
The name of the book, and it is, I'm going to warn you folks, and Cathy, you owe me sleep, because I'm going to warn you folks. The book is out from Hay House. It's called The Boy Who Knew Too Much. You can find it wherever you buy books, but it reads such that if you're like me and read at night, you're going to lose sleep because you're not going to want to put this book down. And we're talking about it today with Cathy Byrd, the author of the book, and Jeroen deWit, who played an important part in helping Cathy piece all of this together. But let's stop for a moment and let's talk about Robinson Film Center. Jimmie, Lauren and I went to the Robinson this weekend and saw Jules.
How was it?
Oh, my
It was very
goodness.
good.
Wow.
It looks great.
It is fantastic. It really is.
I'm glad for the collective.
It really, the cast was wonderful. And, that's the deal with the Robinson. We get movies like Jules, and also playing right now is Talk to Me. Golda is coming up. That's the deal with the Robinson Film Center.
Did you just skip Clueless?
I did skip Clueless, and I shouldn't have done that, but it's coming up, too. 617. You can't get it all in. 617 Texas Street, downtown Shreveport. No place like it. And, of course, Abby Singer's Bistro, full-service bistro and bar on the second floor of RFC, open for lunch and dinner Tuesday through Saturday. You need to join the crowd and join the fun. Become a member, get discounts on movies, get concession upgrades, get bistro deals. RFC, 617 Texas Street, downtown Shreveport, RobinsonFilmCenter.org. Welcome back. Welcome back to 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Welcome back to Strategies for Living. David McMillian, Jimmie Bryant, Lauren Leon McMillian with Cathy Byrd and Jeroen deWit. Cathy is the author of The Boy Who Knew Too Much. It is an astounding true story of a young boy's past life memories. If you go to the bookstore to find this, you can't miss it. Cute little guy in a Dodgers uniform throwing the first pitch out.
It's adorable.
Yeah, but this is this photo. This really happened. He threw the first pitch out at a Dodgers at a game, awesome. And that's after he got to be in a movie.
Wow.
With who? It was with Adam. Cathy, who it was?
Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler.
Yeah. What a
awesome.
ride! What a ride! Cathy, how did you connect with Jeroen?
Well, you know how I mentioned that I was not a woo-woo person. I did have in my life one friend who I would consider woo-woo.
Right.
And when I had really explored all options and didn't know where else to go,
right.
I had my son, confirming to me that he actually believed that he was Lou Gehrig in a past life.
Right.
And Carol Bowman had me shown photos from Lou Gehrig's life. And when I showed him pictures of Lou Gehrig's parents, he was able to identify the names of the parents, and he pointed to the mother of Lou Gehrig and said, "That's you. You were her." So
wow.
I didn't know what to do with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that is where Jeroen came into the picture. Still skeptical all the way through, right? Even when I don't know if anyone's ever done a past life regression as you're listening to this, but even when you're under hypnosis, that little skeptic in you is still there saying,
sure.
This isn't real, this isn't working, in the background, right?
Sure, because during hypnosis, and during hypnosis, sometimes the mind stays very active. Sometimes there's what's called somnambulism, where you go very, very deep. But oftentimes now, the conscious mind, the ego mind, kind of stays in there, doesn't it?
Yeah, especially nowadays, more people are quite awake and aware during their hypnosis process. Mm-hmm. So it's more like an extending into the other parts of the mind rather than cutting a part out. So it's like widening the focus within one's consciousness to include what we call the subconscious mind, which is where the information about other past lives is.
Yeah. Cathy,
that really speaks to my experience, too, what he just explained. I almost feel like your conscious mind takes a backseat to your subconscious mind, but it's still an observer in the whole situation.
Yeah. Now, when you finish that first past life session with Jeroen, and Jeroen is one of the best.
Really?
He's one of the best. He's a QHHT
really
level 3 practitioner. He was trained by the master herself, Dolores Cannon, and there are a lot of QHHT practitioners out there across the country, across the world. But Jeroen is, I'm going to put my 2 cents in and say he's absolutely one of the best. So,
thank you.
And it is very critical who you do it with, because really you want to feel like you're in a safe space, right? Because you're really, this person who you're with in the hypnosis is really guiding you. Like you're kind of putting your whole life in their hands. So it really is so important. It's a gift for sure.
By the way,
I thought it was really nice.
Go ahead, Jeroen.
When we first met, you and I, Cathy, when we first met, we didn't know each other when you walked through the door of my office. And when we found out that we're both Geminis, we were just like chatting and laughing. There was an immediate connection there.
I know. And ever since then, we've been buddies. Lovely.
Yeah.
And that's not an uncommon thing, is it, Jeroen? You've done a couple of thousand hypnosis sessions, regression sessions now, and it's not uncommon at all. You usually don't know the person that's coming to consult with you and talk to
correct.
You. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I had a friend just make an appointment with Jeroen, and they had to make it 6 months in advance. He's very busy.
I know he stays. We had to wait a while. For both of you guys are busy. We had to wait a while to get you here on the radio, but
together, right? Yeah.
When you woke up good, Cathy, from that initial session, and you did some follow-up sessions too, but when you woke up from that first session, can you describe what that was like once you disseminated, you kind of put together the information that came out and came into place for you?
Yeah, it's really, I mean, it's an amazing experience because, you're under hypnosis or, in that session, you feel like it's been 20 minutes and it's been 4 or 5 hours, which is amazing to me. And then when you come out, you're a bit, you go right back into your conscious mind. You get in your car, you're driving, you try to just push it away, right? Like it's kind of like when you wake up from a dream, you might remember little pieces of it, but then it disappears. So one thing is Jeroen has the recording, which I did remember everything really well.
Yeah.
And the one thing that stood out to me that just, the proof to me was first of all, well, there's surprises in the book that I won't spoil, but one of the things I'll talk about was the emotions that I felt. I cried, and I don't cry easily in real life.
Right.
So for me to be Lou Gehrig's mother, and I experienced my own death, and then I'm meeting Lou Gehrig on the other side, and, and like crying real tears, and, having him say to me, I will find you. It was all like so emotionally charged. And I will say that it's the same thing with Christian's memories, is that there was a lot of emotion attached to it. So he wasn't just like throwing out facts. These were like you said, he emphatically believed that he was a tall baseball player. Like there was a lot of emotion involved.
By the way, I got to get back to the name thing, guys, because you've talked about Lou Gehrig's mother, and that in that past life you were Lou Gehrig's mother, but back to the name thing. Lou Gehrig's mother was named Christina.
A little swapping of the letters. Very true. I know. So many coincidences, right?
Yeah.
If you believe in those.
You don't have the Twilight Zone theme going in the background there, do you, Jimmie? Yeah.
It's a lot. Yeah.
One of the things that, before we get too far away from Carol Bowman, who I know helped you a lot in the early time, and I talked to Carol within the last couple of weeks. She's now semi-retired, but her website and blog they're still going on. CarolBowman.com is where you can find it. But she and her husband just wrote and it's free on her website. Mm-hmm. You can download it. It's about a 25,000 word essay, and it's wonderful. It's called Beyond Disbelief, and it's kind of a compilation of Carol's work over the last, 25 plus years. And it's completely free. You can go to her website, CarolBowman.com, and download Beyond Disbelief. And just like I think maybe we're doing this evening, it'll blow you away.
Yeah, I think she even mentions Christian story.
She does mention.
the
Yeah,
essay.
she does mention Christian story in Beyond Disbelief, Cathy. So
I definitely need to read that. She's such a great writer too. I love her writing.
She definitely.
You know why I like it? Because it's very, very logical and scientific, and that's my thing.
Yeah.
Yes. Now what, and again, I don't want to get too far, because the first you consulted your pastor immediately, but later you found another wonderful Christian pastor who kind of had a different take on all of
right.
this.
And
right?
I have Jeroen to thank for that, because this man is a wonderful man. He's now about 76, I believe. But he was a person who I saw in my past life regression with Jeroen, and there I was, this elderly lady living with a family with a 10-year-old little boy and a 7-year-old little girl. And I ended up going to New York and finding those people who are now older than me, and we just had the most wonderful time. And he was a pastor, and he really put my mind at ease, and basically said, it's something that comes from the light, and love. It's not something to be afraid of. Yeah. And he was able to verify a lot of the facts that came up in the regression that I did with Jeroen, including jewelry that Lou Gehrig's mother had given to his family. He was able to say, yes, we have that jewelry.
You know, I know, Jeroen, this does not happen, what Cathy's just describing. It's I'm going to give a good Louisiana word, guys. Let's see how well you do with your Louisiana. Yeah, so lanyap. Do either one of you know what the word lanyap means?
Lanyap.
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 Is it Southern or French? Which part of Louisiana is it coming from?
It's French. It's
Okay.
lanyap. Lagniapppe. Lanyap, and it means a little something extra. It means just a little,
like it.
Yeah, like you put in gumbo. You know, in gumbo you put lanyap in. You know, a little something extra.
It.
You go get some beignets and you order a dozen of them. 13 come. It's a little something extra. It's, you know, just a little.
Very cute.
Yeah, just a
Love
Louisiana thing. But you know, I think Cathy got a lot of lanyap, Jeroen, because she was able to research and go back and find historic. She found the history, and she was able to verify. Most of the people don't necessarily get that lanyap, do they?
Well, a lot of people can get very detailed information, but it's not often that you hit like a historic lifetime that is documented where you can verify those details. You know, when I worked with Cathy, it was back in 2014. It was kind of at the beginning of my career.
Right.
And, you know, I didn't know Cathy when she first walked into my office. So we started this session. She had told me about the experience with her son. And, you know, I'm based in Los Angeles now, but I was raised in the Netherlands. And I'm from a very sort of cerebral, rational culture. So we don't believe a whole bunch of stuff unless it's verifiable and scientific. So
right.
When we start the session and it becomes clear that she's talking to me from her lifetime as Christina Gehrig. I was still a little skeptical as well. I was like, maybe this lady just researched a whole lot. So I was trying to be a good past life regressionist and ask her about lots of details, trivial details that she couldn't have known about. Like, I remember the first scene that she went into, she was describing her living room. This was like a working class environment on the East Coast in the 1930s, and she described like the carpet and the couch she was on. I think there was a little dog next to her and a covered over birdcage. And she was so detailed so that I could ask more information regarding other details. Like she knew the German nicknames to her family members, and then stuff like, I remember one of the important days in that lifetime was when she was walking over like a lawn towards the Yankee Stadium to see her son play for the first time. And so here I go, like asking about all these details that she couldn't have known about, like, are you having any snacks during the game? And she started telling me about... Yeah, she started telling me about like I think we're having one nut, and I go, well, is it like, you know, burnt peanuts or like roasted peanuts? And she goes, no, I think they're chestnuts. And you know, Cathy being from SoCal, she had not even seen chestnuts, I think. And then and then I asked, well, how's the score kept? I'm thinking in those days there wasn't like digital scoreboards, and then she went into this whole explanation of how the numbers of the scoreboard will have to be flipped over manually. So
yeah, there used to be a person up there, obviously, put in the numbers up. Yeah.
Right. And then I got home. Do you remember, Jeroen? I sent you pictures. I said, look, here's the scoreboard.
Yes.
And I was like shocked, you know.
Yeah. Same for me, because I just started like asking about really random stuff to make sure that, you know, I wasn't dealing with some con artist. There you go.
I'll never forget. And it's funny how the words come out of your mouth, right? And you hear Lou Gehrig's mother was like a German immigrant, so there was like some German words came out, and then he said, "Are you drinking anything?" And this it bursts out of your mouth. You don't even know what you're saying. And I said, "A cola." Right? Like a cola. Like, when have I ever used that word? Never. And then I Googled it. Yeah, and that's what they used to call, you know, a cola was a cola at a ball game, I guess.
Right. We're talking to Cathy Byrd, the author of The Boy Who Knew Too Much, out from Hay House. It's an astounding true story of a young boy's past life memories. We're talking to Jeroen deWit, who is a level 3 QHHT practitioner, And we'll tell you how you can contact both Cathy and Jeroen. But first, I want to talk to you about something that's been going on for over 100 years right here. I'm talking about the Shreveport Little Theater. Been enriching our lives. It's American theater at its best. And next on stage, it starts September the 1st. Always Patsy Cline. You can get your tickets right now, ShreveportLittleTheater.com. While you're there, check out the season, the 102nd season at SLT. My Way. Oh, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
In October and November, My Way, the music of Sinatra. The Wonderettes are back with Winter Wonderettes in December. In January, 5 Women Wearing the Same Dress is on stage. Then Dial M for Murder in February and March. And in April, Jimmy Buffett's Escape to Margaritaville. It is American theater at its best. You need to go to ShreveportLittleTheater.com. Get your season ticket right now. Definitely get your ticket for Always Patsy Cline starting September the 1st. 812 Margaret Place in Shreveport. ShreveportLittleTheater.com. And welcome back. Welcome back into 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Welcome back into Strategies for a Living with Lauren and Jimmie and David. And oh my. And our life strategist, the author of The Boy Who Knew Too Much. And she is Cathy Byrd. The book is out from Hay House. And Jeroen deWit, who is a QHHT Level 3 practitioner. Let's see. Let's give the websites. Cathy-Byrd. That's CATHY-BYRD.com. That's Cathy. And then Jeroen is Jeroen, QHHT.com. Jeroen, I guess I better spell that for folks.
Right.
Yes, you should spell
Jeroen. 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 So it's Jeroen, QHHT.com.
And for anybody who wants to visit, but maybe is driving or out and about right now, just feel free to check us out on YouTube or Facebook. We've got the show up and streaming, and you can refer back to it.
Yeah, you can refer back, and we have pictures of Jeroen's smiling face up there.
That's
and
right.
Cathy's smiling face, so you know who we're talking to and what we're talking about.
That's right.
You know, Cathy, as you began to research, of course, you didn't you weren't woo-woo, as you've said, but you learned as you dove into this that you were in pretty good company. We're talking Plato. We're talking Socrates. We're talking Carl Jung. We're talking Walt Whitman. We're talking Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. We're talking General George Patton. We're talking Henry Ford. They all were among the list of believers in past lives, right?
Right. And I was just seeking that validation, you know, so I was looking into every religion. I was looking for the common things that tied all religions together. Like, I was seeking. I was really seeking. And I feel like meeting Jeroen and getting the actual, you know, the jewelry came through and the actual details that came through, I feel like, to me, that was like, okay, this is real.
Yeah.
And you can believe it and be at peace with it, you know?
Now, you know, you came and you wanted, you not only wanted, but you needed to piece the puzzle all together. But, Jeroen, we would be remiss if we didn't say that a lot of people who seek this kind of therapy are doing it for healing. There's a healing aspect to all of this, isn't there?
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah, that's part of the method that the wonderful Dolores Cannon left us. So the whole point of the technique is to connect to one's subconscious mind. It's a word for the higher self.
Right.
And when that happens, healing takes place. And it's really just, I mean, I've been doing this work for 17 years. It's still mind-blowing how, like recently I had a woman who was scheduled for LASIK surgery, and she comes out of her session and her sight is 20/20. And it's really on the spot. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that is, I mean, it's still mind-blowing whenever that happens.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I guess it doesn't ever get, you see it, you've done thousands of sessions, you're booked, as Cathy mentioned, you're booked months out, because you have to do QHHT sessions. You can't do them online. You can't do them by Zoom or anything like that. You have to do them in person. So people book with you, and a lot of times people will travel to you. I know, and because they want to work with you.
Yeah, and there's lots of practitioners. Like, if you can travel to me, you can find somebody close to you, and using the QHHT website, it's QHHT official, and you can locate somebody close to you. There's so many people now that are learning this beautiful technique, and you can explore your own past lives,
including Lauren and I. We're
and David.
we're
David.
QHHT.
Right.
We are official QHHT interns. Yeah. So
We've got
Wow.
two
You know, I have a bit of
Shreveport.
do you remember our coincidence that one day you and I went to a past life regression seminar, like a one-day seminar with Mira Kelly, who
Yes.
She was actually Wayne Dyer's girlfriend prior to this. But we went to lunch and we came back and we found out that Dolores Cannon had passed away while we were there. It was so
In a past life regression. Yeah.
Wow.
Right. We were at that seminar the day she passed.
She keeps popping up in our sessions.
Yeah.
She does.
Wow.
She does.
I love it.
She keeps pop. I don't know if that happens with you or your own, but she keeps popping up and hello.
Wow.
And people who don't, it happens with people don't really know. Some of the people who she's come in with don't initially know who Dolores Cannon is, but then they want to know and they find out. And it seems that since her untimely passing in 2014, she's like the Beach Boys song, "I Get Around."
She's on the other side.
I think she can do a lot more.
Still working hard.
A busy lady, yes.
Exactly. So, a lot of things began to fall into place. You pieced the puzzle together. You wrote the book, Cathy. What happened after the book came? Because the book is not, it's not even warm off the press anymore. We're talking several years, and you were approached by Fox to make a motion picture out of this. You've delayed that.
Right. We
Yeah.
came so close to shooting it, and the script just wasn't perfect, and we kind of put the brakes on it, and then COVID came, so now we're just now resurrecting the project.
Good for you for putting the brakes on it when you read the script and said, "No, this doesn't do it for me."
Right. Jeroen lived through that with me too.
Yeah. You know, I know Hollywood money is hard to say no to, you know, but
yeah, it wasn't easy.
Yeah.
It definitely wasn't an easy decision, but
yeah.
I also kind of, I really wanted my kids to be a bit older too before we thrust them into this. And the book is one thing, but the movie is really a big mainstream thing where more people are going to be exposed to it.
Yeah.
So I just needed to make sure it had the right message and the right spiritual message if I'm going to put my kids out there like that.
Absolutely. It needs to be done right for that and for the bigger picture here, because again, you know, across the world, this is not such a big thing, but here in the West, here in our culture,
right.
You know, this idea of we come back and we do this again is kind of brand new for us.
Right,
and so,
right. And we resist it. I even resist it. It's something, even my son plays baseball still, and kids will be like, "Hey, Lou," the kids we play, we would call him Lou Garrett. It's a joke. So it's kind of like a joke to us now. It's like, it's something that's so, like, a part of us, but we can laugh about it, and it's not like we wake up in the morning, being those people.
Do you and he have many conversations now? Of course, he's 15. He doesn't want to talk with his mom too much.
We
but
still talk about it.
Do you?
Yeah, we do talk about it. Yeah, we do. We do. But, it's very much not who he is, but it's very special to him.
Yeah. And my prediction will be that if he's a typical, and I'm sure he is, a very typically developing adolescent young man, this kind of will, in a sense, go on the shelf for a few years, but he'll pull this all back out. And
probably, right? Yeah.
It will be. My prediction is it will be very precious to him one day, and comforting to him.
It is precious. Do you all know the Leininger family? Have you know James Leininger's story, right?
I do.
The little boy
yes.
and he had the memories of being a fighter pilot in World War II. Very specific memories, even beyond Christians. Like met people who he knew their names, and he was with them on the ships and things. So on the planes. But he's someone that we've kept in touch with. He and Christian got to meet each other. And
neat.
It was great. It was really amazing. We
that
spent
is
some
neat.
good time with him. But he just finished he's getting really up there in the military. He did his basic training like a year and a half ago, and he's not a pilot because his eyesight didn't qualify him unless he can miraculously get LASIK or somehow overcome that. But he's really pursuing that passion.
Well, he needs to make a session with Jeroen, and we'll see what we can do.
I know, right? We can fix his eyes.
Exactly. The book is The Boy Who Knew Too Much. It's an astounding true story of a young boy's past life memories. The book is wherever you want to buy books, wherever you find books. Of course, you can get it on Amazon. You can get it at barnesandnoble.com and booksamillion.com and all that. But I know at our local Barnes & Noble, there are plenty of copies. The Boy Who Knew Too Much. Cathy Byrd and Jeroen deWit, our life strategist today here on Strategies for a Living. We will be back. Stay with us. Got to get this book, folks. I warn you, you can't put it down. So Cathy owes me some sleep. The Boy Who Knew Too Much is the name of the book. It's out from Hay House. Cathy Byrd is the author. cathy-byrd.com. And Jeroen deWit is the level 3 QHHT practitioner that helped Cathy put it all together. JeroenQHHT.com. JeroenQHHT.com. Guys, the only complaint that I've got is I'm asking Jimmie for a couple of more hours, because we need a couple of more hours here to tell this story. But Jimmie's shaking his head like he's not going to give it to me.
I tell you what, we can do it. Just not today.
Just not today. Okay. So people are just going to have to go get the book, right, Cathy? I know you're disappointed by that.
I think we lost Cathy.
Did we lose Cathy?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
She just dropped.
Okay. Well, we'll get Cathy back, and but Jeroen and Cathy. If we lost Cathy, we lost Jeroen too, because they were connected together.
That's right.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is just is something else, and it blows your mind. It stretches you.
Yeah.
And especially for us who we're not used to these kinds of stories, and again, Cathy. It comes through the pages. She is a skeptic, and she didn't just jump in believing. And we're talking about her kid, right?
Right.
So it's a story worth reading.
I think that makes her story a little more compelling.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The Boy Who Knew Too Much, Hay House. Get it wherever you buy books. Folks, thank you for tuning into Strategies for a Living. We are presented by the Robinson Film Center, and by Azalea Cleaners, by Pintail Roofing, by Learning RX, by Hempress, Cannabis with Love, 3766 Uri Drive in Shreveport, and by the Shreveport Little Theater. If today were the last day of your life, you only had one more phone call that you could make, who would you call? What would you say? And why are you waiting? Make the call. For Cathy Byrd, for Jeroen deWit, for Lauren Leon McMillian, PLPC, and for Jimmie Bryant. I'm David McMillian. See you next time on Strategies for Living.